Cheers! Because we're all emotionally unbalanced. Whether it be anxiety, shame, or anger, every single one of us, myself, you, your roommate, your spouse, we all have some kind of emotional imbalance that we struggle with. And drumroll please, if we can learn how to unlock the secret of our personality type's imbalance, then we can unlock our path to our healthiest selves. If you're new here, hello, my name's Abby, and I am here to help you discover you through the lens of your unique Enneagram type. If you're wondering how all of us being emotionally unhinged has to do with the Enneagram, well, there's this thing called triads. It's this organizational tool that we use within the Enneagram to basically group the Enneagram types into pockets of 3. And it's based on like common characteristics and traits and ways that you react and respond to life. There are a lot of Enneagram triads and they're incredibly helpful if you're trying to find your type, or if you're like, how come I act this way, but it looks incredibly similar to how my mom, who is a completely different type than me, acts when she's stressed out. It helps you figure out those commonalities between seemingly disparate types. For beginners to the Enneagram, I recommend looking at the Centers of Intelligence Triad. Within each triad, there is an emotional imbalance and a common desire. As you move through life, you're trying to achieve that common desire, right? But you have that imbalance that's making it really hard. So you employ all of these strategies to try to make sure that you can still get your desire and overcome that imbalance. And that is what the Centers of Intelligence Triad is all about. It's what are those strategies? What does that look like for you? Do you struggle with anxiety? Because if you do, you might be in the thinking center or the head triad. This includes types 5, 6, and 7. If you're in the head triad, your emotional imbalance is anxiety or fear, and you have a common desire for security. They do, however, show it differently, so let's talk about it. Type 5s worry that they don't have enough to operate in the world, so they are constantly compensating for that fact by withdrawing from other people, hoarding their inner resources, and trying to gather as much knowledge as possible. 6s worry about all the worst case scenarios. They got a whole freaking Mormon tabernacle choir behind them, singing lots of songs about all the horrible things that could possibly happen to them. And type 7s worry that they're gonna be bored or deprived. And that might sound like, okay, so 6s are afraid of the earth collapsing and 7s are afraid they're gonna be bored. No, 7s are afraid that they are gonna miss out on life itself, that life is just gonna pass them by. It's the ultimate FOMO. If you're in this grouping, here are some things you might say. Use your head. What are you thinking? What do we think we should do? How can we look at this logically? You are going to approach problems first and foremost through mental analysis. Do you struggle with feelings of shame? You might be in the heart triad or the feeling center. This includes types 2, 3, and 4. Their emotional imbalance is shame, and their common desire is to have a significant identity. When type 2s are processing life, they get laser focused on the feelings of other people. It's still around the heart triad, it's still about feelings, but it's all about everybody else's feelings. Are they acknowledging their own emotions and what's going on inside of them when they are not in their healthiest state? Absolutely not. They are zeroed in on everyone else. What are all your problems? How can I fix it for you? I am the czar of all the people's problems. Enneagram 3s are on the opposite side of the spectrum. They are not feeling their feelings at all. They don't even really recognize them. They do their very best not to interact with their feelings and not to interact with anyone else's feelings, but they're there. So it's not like they're supposed to be in the head triad where they're all logical. No, 3s feel all of the things and they go, hey, you're not productive. Repress, repress, repress. Now for Enneagram 4s, their middle name is feelings. They are very in tune with how they feel, perhaps even too much so. One of the beauties about Enneagram 4s is their ability to connect with a wide range of complex emotions. They don't run away from those icky things. They don't run away from uncomfortable feelings. Like they will dive deep into things that make a lot of other types run for the high hills. Where are those high hills? Couldn't tell you, but we're running there. If you're in this triad, some things you might say are, what does your heart say? How do you feel about this? How did he feel about this? How did she feel about this? Are you emotionally imbalanced with anger? You might be in the gut triad or the instinctual center. This is types 8, 9, and 1. These 3 types share a reaction to life in that they commonly desire justice, and their emotional imbalance is anger. The way that anger and a yearning for justice shows up in these 3 types is very different. For example, Enneagram type 8s react with anger in a very fast, intense way. I like to describe them as a freaking volcano. It's like they feel the anger comes out. They see the injustice, they go to fix the injustice. It is a gut thing that happens, not much mental processing going on there, reacting from their instinctive gut reactions. If you are an Enneagram 9, you're gonna feel all of that anger. You're gonna feel that yearning for justice, but you are not going to express it right away like Enneagram 8s do. And that is because you have a core motivation of being in peace, having inner peace and outer peace. And so sometimes reacting to injustice and feeling anger can cause conflict. I mean, it does. And so 9s are going to suppress that and maybe be passive aggressive and try not to feel that anger and just kind of let it simmer within them. They're gonna feel all the injustice, they're gonna hurt for other people, but they're gonna have a really hard time addressing that emotional imbalance. And Enneagram type 1s also feel anger and desire justice, but they repress that feeling because anger is a bad emotion. I'm using the quotation marks, okay? They feel like anger is a bad emotion. That's what bad people do. So they don't want to come out as like an angry, Karen or whatever they feel like anger represents. They want to seem like a calm, centered, good, moral person. So they are going to approach situations haltingly with their gut because they want to explode, but they know that's not the right thing to do, so they're going to approach it in a different way. Things you might automatically say if you're in this grouping is, what are you gonna do? What are we gonna do? What does your gut say? Triads are probably my absolute favorite thing about the Enneagram right now. I think they're a fantastic way of learning which type you might be if you're still trying to learn, or if you already know what type you are, of seeing what your commonalities are with other people in your life who are different types than you. I've made a playlist where all of the triad videos are living in one place, so if you want to learn more and become more obsessed with the triads like me, here is the playlist right here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.